The stars looked peaceful from the cockpit window. Cold, quiet, far too quiet. Captain Rhea Morgan sat at the controls of the cargo ship Mercy Wind. Her fingers hovered over the command panel as her ship drifted into orbit over Colony 19, but there was no greeting signal. No lights in the sky. No voices over the radio. Colony 19, this is Mercy Wind. We're here with your supply drop, Morgan said into the mic. Please confirm docking. Silence. The comms officer tried again. And again. Still nothing. Ma'am, the officer said, we're not even getting their beacon. It's like they shut everything off. Morgan's jaw tightened. This colony was home to nearly 200,000 people. Families, soldiers, scientists, all gone quiet in one day. She stared out the window. The colony looked perfect. Too perfect. Buildings stood tall. Streets were clean. Lights still glowed in towers. But nothing moved. No cars. No people. Not even birds. The ship landed just outside the city. Morgan led a small crew out, weapons ready. As they stepped into the main street, wind carried dust across the ground. A child's ball rolled across the road and stopped near their boots. A door creaked open in the distance. No gunfire. No alarms. But the silence. It was thick, alive, like the air itself was watching them. They walked through the empty market. Fresh fruit sat in baskets. A chair rocked slowly by itself. Morgan spoke softly. Where the hell is everyone? Inside a diner, food was still on plates. Coffee steamed in mugs. A radio played soft music. On repeat. But the booths were empty. In the school across the street, small desks were scattered. The holoboard was mid-lesson. A digital pen floated near a math problem. No children. No teachers. Just shadows. The team checked life scanners. Nothing. No bodies. No remains. Not even blood. It was like the colony had vanished in 1 second. Kim, the youngest on the team, whispered, "This place feels haunted." They reached the central communication tower. Morgan pushed open the control room door. Everything was working. Power. Network. Systems, but someone had shut it all off manually. On purpose. Whoever did this wanted us blind, said the engineer. That's when they saw it. Etched deep into the wall behind the terminal was a long, jagged mark. Not a word. Not a symbol. A scar. Alien. Burned into steel. Morgan called back to the ship. Prepare for immediate departure. We've got. The line cut. The lights flickered. A soft hum filled the air. The same humming heard before a storm hits. Then came the scream. Lt. Kim was gone. Just gone. 1 second beside them, the next. Nothing. No trace. Not even a footprint. Red lights blinked on their wrist trackers. Systems failing. Something was attacking, but not physically. It was deeper. In the tech, in the air, in the dark. They ran. As they rushed back to the ship, shadows moved across rooftops. Eyes watched from behind glass. Something was still. Here, or had always been here. Morgan made it to the ship with the others. They didn't wait for full launch protocol. As they lifted off, she looked down at Colony 19. From above. It still looked peaceful, beautiful, alive, but it wasn't. Back. On Earth, the message they managed to send played on every screen in the war room. Colony 19 is gone. No bodies, no survivors, only silence. Possible hostile force. Unknown technology. We're coming home. There was only one survivor from the ground team. A soldier named Voss. His eyes were empty when he returned. Hands trembling. He didn't speak for hours. But when he finally did, he repeated one thing. They didn't take the colony. They erased it. He drew something on paper. A symbol no one recognized. A shape that matched the scar on the tower wall. Not a name. Not a warning. A signature. The president watched the footage in silence. General stood behind her, waiting. Finally, she spoke. "They killed our people," she said. "They made sure." "We knew it." She turned to the War Council. "Find out who did this. Find out where they live." A long silence followed. Then the head general nodded. "We won't send a message," he said. "We'll send a response." The room was silent. 12 of Earth's most powerful leaders sat around. A long black table deep under the surface of New Geneva, Earth's capital. Admirals, generals, heads of science, intelligence, defense, all stared at the large screen at the end of the room. It showed the final message from Mercy Wind. The voice of Captain Rhea Morgan crackled across the speakers just before the transmission ended in static. Colony 19 is gone. No survivors. Unknown force. This was not a natural event. This was, the audio cut. The screen faded to black. No one spoke for a moment. Then, General Soren Hawley leaned forward. His voice was low but sharp. "They didn't just kill our people. They made them disappear. They wanted silence, but now they'll hear us." Across Earth, news of Colony 19's disappearance spread fast. Some called it a ghost event. Others, a mass abduction. Panic grew. People demanded answers, but behind closed doors, the truth was becoming clear. Earth's top intelligence systems had been digging non-stop since the scout team returned. They finally found something, a matching signal. Faint, hidden in deep space transmissions. A frequency not used by any known allies. It came from a region of space called Sector X-49, an area ruled by a powerful alien empire. The Krek Dominion. The Krek were ancient, brutal, and proud. A race of scaled, six-limbed predators. Once feared for wiping out 3 minor species in their rise to power, they had not been challenged in centuries. Earth had no direct conflict with them before. No war, no contact, not even trade. Just silence. Until now, a message was sent to the Krek High Command. It was simple. "You attacked our colony. We demand answers." No reply came. But Earth received something else, a strange signal. A file. Encrypted. Once opened, it displayed a single image. The Krek symbol, burned into steel, just like the walls of Colony 19, placed over Earth's flag. Cracked in half. It was a challenge, a warning, a declaration, and it was answered. Back. In the council chamber, the president stood before the screen, calm but cold. "They believe we will back down," she said. "That humans will stay quiet like the others they've broken." She turned to her left. "Activate the Odin Protocol." Gasps filled the room. One admiral spoke up. "Madam President, the Odin system was never meant to be used." "It's not." Refined, she stared him down. "They erased a colony, Admiral." "We erase a star." Beneath the frozen ice of Europa's second moon, a facility powered up for the first time in a decade. ODI, and a weapon born from fear, built in secret, designed to end wars with one strike. It didn't target soldiers or ships. It targeted infrastructure, orbitals, stars. Odin was designed to collapse civilization itself. The eye system inside the facility spoke in a calm, synthetic voice. "Protocol activated. Target pending." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Earth sent out encrypted messages to the Galactic Council, a body of over 200 species. Some replied with warnings, others with fear. One message stood out. It came from the Vorn, an ancient wise species. "Do not go to war with the Krek. They are stronger than you think. They will retaliate without mercy." Earth replied, "So will we." General Hawley stood on the bridge of the flagship Horizon's Vow. Behind him, hundreds of warships were preparing for warp. Fighters, dreadnoughts, Black Ops cruisers, orbital strikers, all marked with Earth's flag. He turned to his second-in-command. "Captain Reyes, do we have full fleet readiness?" Reyes nodded. "All systems green. We wait for your order." Hale stepped forward, speaking into the fleet-wide channel. "To the soldiers of Earth, Colony 19 is gone. Families, friends, and children, taken from us in silence. We do not forget, we do not forgive. We are not sending a message, we are sending a lesson. Prepare for warp. We strike in 72 hours. On the dark edge of Krek space, hidden probes watched Earth's fleet begin to move. The Krek Supreme Warlord received the report. "They are coming," said his advisor. The Warlord growled. "Let them. We have crushed greater than humans." He looked out over his empire, massive fleets, fortified planets, endless soldiers. But he didn't know what Earth was bringing. He didn't know Odin had been activated. He didn't know Earth had changed. Back on Earth, in a small room far from the war councils and command centers, the survivor from Colony 19, the young boy who had whispered only one word, was drawing again. The doctors watched in silence. He drew the same thing. Over and over. A pair of eyes, not human. Not kind. He pointed to the stars, and he whispered again, "They're still watching." Far beneath Earth's Arctic ice, deeper than any map shows, a silent facility came to life. For decades, it had slept in shadows. No lights, no heat, no sound, just machines waiting. Now, a red light blinked. Once, then again. Then everything turned on. Doors hissed open. Walls glowed faint blue. Steam hissed from vents. The Odin system had awakened. Inside the central command room, 3 scientists stood in front of a long black panel. Their faces were pale. Their hands shook. One of them, Dr. Hanna Voss, whispered, "We weren't supposed to use this." Another replied, "We have no choice. Colony 19 wasn't an attack. It was a message." Dr. Voss input the code. A long pause followed. Odin Protocol activated. On the screen, red text appeared. Target required. In orbit above Earth. The war fleet was ready. Over 300 ships. Each one a masterpiece of human design. Silent, deadly, beautiful. Most were controlled by AI, built for precision and speed. No emotion. No hesitation. But at the heart of the fleet stood one ship, the Horizon's Vow. On board was General Soren Hale. He looked out the main window at the stars ahead. His eyes were cold. He had seen war before, but nothing like this. This wasn't war. This was a warning to the galaxy. Behind him, Captain Reyes approached. "Final checks complete," she said. "The fleet is ready." Hale nodded. "What about Odin?" "It's online, awaiting target confirmation." In cities across Earth, soldiers said goodbye. Some hugged their children tight, pretending they weren't afraid. Others recorded goodbye messages, just in case. One young pilot, Lieutenant Mika Chun, looked at the photo of her family. She had never even told them she was part of the Odin strike team. She whispered, "You won't know what I did, but you'll be safe." Then she put on her helmet. Meanwhile, in Krek space, the Empire was watching. Their spies had seen the fleet move. They saw Earth preparing something massive, but they didn't understand it. To them, humans were still new, still soft, still afraid. They believed their own weapons were enough. They were wrong. Back at the Arctic facility, Odin's AI voice echoed through the cold steel halls. "Primary target, Krek Star System 17 approved. Sub-targets, Orbital fortress, industrial moon, main planetary core, star energy grid. Status: ready to deploy. Dr. Voss stepped back. She looked at the other scientists. If we launch this, there's no going back. We will not just destroy their army. We will erase part of their civilization. The lead technician responded, "That's the point." In the War Council chamber on Earth, the president stood with her, hands behind her back. Every screen showed a different part of the operation: the fleet, the Odin Control Center, the Krek border. She said only 5 words: begin the journey to justice. In the blackness of space, the Horizon's vow led the fleet forward. One by one, ships disappeared into warp, lines of white light tearing across the dark like shooting. Stars. A new storm was coming. And Earth was bringing it. 3 days later, the fleet dropped out of warp. They were on the edge of Krek space. In front of them, a sun burning orange and several Krek planets rotating silently. Their largest military planet, Drog, floated with a massive ring of defense satellites. General Halle gave the order: do not engage. Hold formation. Let Odin speak first. The command was sent back to Earth. Odin received it. Back under the Arctic, Odin's countdown began. Starquake missile sequence. Armed. Dark matter core spike, ready. Neural virus, prepared. In 1 moment, 3 weapons were fired. None of them made sound. None of them could be seen by the naked eye, but they moved faster than light. At Krek command, alarms began to scream. The Supreme Warlord stood from his throne. What is happening? But no one could answer. Ships powered down, shields failed. Satellites went dark. Their communications were infected by something they couldn't stop: Earth's viral code. Then the worst happened. The Krek star pulsed. Then dimmed. And in less than 10 seconds, it collapsed. From orbit, General Halle and his fleet watched as the Krek military world of Drog vanished in a silent flash. No noise, just light. Then nothing. Where a sun once burned, there was only a black hole. All orbiting ships were pulled inward. Defense systems torn apart. Screams echoed over open channels before they cut off. Captain Rias looked at the general. What? Do we tell Earth? He didn't blink. We tell them. The Krek no longer have a home. Back on Earth, the president watched the live feed. Scientists gasped. Leaders fell silent. The message was clear. Earth had answered. No more silence. No more fear. Now, the galaxy was listening. The sky over Krek Prime was dark blue, filled with clouds shaped like jagged knives. A small Krek child stood in the garden outside his home. He looked up and pointed. "Mother," he said, "the stars are moving." The mother stepped out, her sharp eyes narrowing. But those weren't stars. Tiny lights filled the night. Thousands. Cold, silent, perfectly aligned. The team Krek had seen stars before, but these lights moved like they had a purpose, because they did. The humans had arrived above the planet. Earth's war fleet held position. 300 warships, AI-controlled fighters, gravity bombers, dark-class stealth destroyers, all floating just beyond the edge of Krek Prime's upper atmosphere. No words, no greetings, no attempt at peace. Just silence. The same silence Krek had given Colony 19. General Halle stood at the front of Horizon's vow, staring down at the glowing cities of Krek Prime, the enemy homeworld. His voice was calm. Begin Phase 1. Suddenly, Earth's fleet split apart. Small drones rained down like silent thunder. They didn't explode. They didn't scream. They moved like shadows, fast, precise, unstoppable. They landed in key areas: military bases, energy stations, government towers. Then the world began to go dark. City after city lost power. Defense systems froze. Communication towers collapsed. Krek generals screamed into radios that no longer worked. At the main Krek War Council, alarms blared. The Supreme Warlord slammed his fist into the table. "Where is our air defense?" A voice replied, "We cannot stop them. They hacked our shields before we even saw them." In orbit, Earth's fleet held fire. They were not here for a fair fight. They were here to end a threat. General Halle gave the second command. Phase 2. Show them what we are. Stealth ships uncloaked in the sky. Earth's advanced mechs dropped from orbit, slamming into the ground with enough force to shake cities. Then came the message. Across every Krek screen, home, military, even schools, the same image appeared. It was the Earth flag. Slowly rising, and one sentence written in Krek language. "You erased one colony. Now watch your world vanish." The Krek fought back. Their anti-air guns fired blindly into the sky. Their soldiers rallied. Commanders barked orders, but nothing worked. Their systems were still jammed. Their targeting was scrambled. Even their nuclear launch stations were frozen, locked down by Earth's code. It was as if the planet was no longer theirs. On the ground, mechs marched through cities like giants. They didn't destroy at random. They moved through strategic points, control centers, orbital ports, fleet docks, one by one. Krek leadership centers were cut off. In the western capital, a group of Krek elders tried to escape on a transport ship. It lifted into the sky, then suddenly froze. A human satellite fired a beam of electromagnetic energy. The ship dropped like a stone. The explosion lit the skyline for 10 seconds. Then it was gone. Inside the War Council chamber, the Supreme Warlord watched the planet fall apart. He had lived through 100 battles, conquered 5 species, feared by billions. But now, he turned to his commanders. They are not fighting for land or power. They are fighting with a memory. He remembered the human message. "You erased one colony," he whispered. "We made a mistake." Back in orbit, the AI on board Earth's fleet calculated casualties. 0. Human casualties, 0 Krek casualties, over 3 million, all military, all strategic. They were not killing civilians, not yet. General Halle looked at the data. They'll understand mercy, but only if they crawl. Then Earth made their move. From orbit, they launched one final message, a projection into the skies over every Krek city. It showed Colony 19, footage of the empty homes, silent schools, the swing moving in the wind, a child's drawing left behind on the wall. Then a message in Krek script. "We were peaceful. You answered with silence. Now, hear us." The projection ended, and Earth disappeared from the skies. Krek stood in silence. The humans could have destroyed the entire planet. They didn't. They didn't need to. They showed they could take everything, and chose not to. That fear was worse than destruction. Back on Earth, news spread fast. Operation was complete. The Krek homeworld had fallen, not burned, but broken. Across the galaxy, other species watched. Some were terrified, some impressed. But one thing was clear. Earth was no longer the new species. They were not prey. They were now a superpower. And everyone knew, if you attack their people, Earth will come for your home, your leaders, your sky, and your star. Smoke rose above Krek Prime like a black curtain. Their skies, once filled with military fleets and pride, were now quiet, choked, broken. Then the first fire fell. It was not a missile, not a bomb. It was a signal sent from Earth's high orbit. Drones to the millions of stealth units already hidden across the surface. Across the planet, Explosions lit up the night, precision strikes. Power grids, communication hubs, military bunkers, shipyards, weapon stockpiles. All gone within minutes. In the city of Volume Tag, Commander Duran of the Krek High Guard watched in horror as his city turned to ash, and not a single human soldier had landed yet. His troops had no air cover. Their systems were blind. Even their backup systems were corrupted. He tried to command the city's defenses. The screens replied with Earth symbol. A calm voice in the human language spoke. You should not have touched Colony 19. Then, everything went dark. High above, Earth's war fleet continued to orbit in perfect silence. Inside the horizon's vow, General Soren Halle stood with arms folded. Behind him, HFY-SCI-FIs tracked Earth strikes with cold precision. Not a bullet wasted. Not a bomb missed. Phase 3, Halle said. Deploy the hammers. From orbit, the black dropships descended. 10,000 troops. Elite human soldiers in mech-enhanced armor. Backed by battlefield drones and mobile artillery. Each one trained to move like a ghost and strike like a god. They landed across the planet, in waves. And everywhere they touched the ground. Krek resistance died. At the coastal city of Marek, the Krek 7th Battalion waited near the shoreline with tanks and hovercrafts. They believed they were ready. Then they saw something rise from the sea. A massive dark machine. No sound. No warnings. It fired once. A pulse of energy stretched across 5 kilometers. Krek tanks melted. Sand turned to glass. Everything else caught fire. The 7th Battalion was no more. Inside the capital, a desperate Krek warlord tried to escape by shuttle. The shuttle rose, then a single drone pierced its hull from above like a needle through paper. The shuttle fell back to the ground in flames. The drone hovered for a moment, scanning for life signs. None. It flew on. Meanwhile, Earth's Black Ops teams worked in silence. They were not part of the main force. These units had a different mission: hunt and erase the Krek chain of command. Using cloak tech and neural scramblers, they moved through cities unnoticed. Within 6 hours, Earth's operatives had eliminated every surviving general, commander, and fleet admiral. Without leadership, Krek soldiers began to surrender or run, but most never got far because Earth didn't send warnings. Earth sent judgment. In a hidden base near Krek Prime's North Pole, a group of engineers tried to launch an emergency escape ship. They had a backup drive, coordinates to Krek's last outer world colony. As the engines warmed up, one of them smiled. We'll make it. They can't be everywhere. Then the floor opened. A sleek black figure dropped into the room. A single shot. One flash of light. All 5 engineers collapsed before they could even scream. The AI inside the escape ship spoke. Unauthorized departure. Access denied. The ship self-destructed. On the other side of the galaxy, dozens of alien species watched the live feeds, or what Earth allowed them to see. The Zular Confederacy, once enemies of Earth, began locking their borders. The Varn Empire, known for mocking humans, deleted all records of their old propaganda broadcasts. The Galactic Council met in emergency session, but no one interrupted. No one protested. Because what they saw was not war. It was something worse. A message was sent from Earth. It was not long. The words were clear. We do not start wars. We finish them. One colony was taken. A star system has been returned in fire. In a dark room, the only surviving Krek leader, a wounded scientist, sat on his knees, staring at a projection of Earth's response. He whispered to himself, "They are not like the others. They are not conquerors. They are punishment." He activated a beacon, not to fight, but to surrender. He hoped they would listen. Back on Earth, In a quiet chamber beneath the president's office, Odin was deactivated. Its work was done. But before its systems went cold, the AI sent out one last message into the secure EarthNet. Colony 19, justified. Krek Prime, neutralized. Message, delivered. General Hale stood at the observation deck of the Horizon's Vow, staring at the burned skies of Krek Prime. He spoke softly to himself. You wanted silence. Now listen to what it sounds like when humans stop speaking. Behind him, Earth's flag rose on the planet for the first and last time, not as a conqueror, as a warning. Far beyond Krek Prime, on the outer edge of the system, a lone Earth satellite floated in deep space. It had no weapons, no lights, no name, but it was watching, and what it captured would change the galaxy forever. The screen on the Horizon's Vow showed the live feed, the Krek sun, glowing bright orange in the distance. It had burned for millions of years. It had seen empires rise and fall, and now it was trembling. General Soren Hale stood on the command deck. The room was silent. No one spoke. The countdown had begun. Odin device, full activation in T-minus 60 seconds. Back on Earth, deep beneath the Arctic ice, Odin's AI pulsed with quiet power. This was the final command, the one they had only planned for. Never tested. Until now. Inside Odin's chamber, a machine the size of a small ship began to glow. Its core spun faster and faster, pulling energy from dark matter reserves buried beneath the planet's crust. The AI spoke, deploying micro-singularity device. A small capsule launched into space, not a bomb, not a missile, a tiny seed. A black orb no larger than a fist. Had moved faster than light, and then it reached the Krek sun. At first, nothing happened. The star burned as it always had. Then, its surface began to twist, stretch, pulled out as if something invisible had taken hold of it. Black dot formed in the center of the star's core, small, quiet, patient. Then it grew fast. On Krek Prime, people looked up in fear. The skies dimmed. The sun turned red, then blue, then black. Animals screamed. Plants wilted. Then came the tremor, a slow pulse, like the heartbeat of a dying god. Buildings shook. Oceans pulled back. The air itself grew heavy. A scientist in the Capitol stared at his instruments. His voice was dry. The sun is collapsing. The warlord, hidden in a bunker, demanded answers. Reverse it. Stabilize it. The scientist looked up, pale and shaking. You can't reverse a black hole. In orbit, Earth's fleet moved into withdrawal position. General Hale watched the star. Time to event? He asked. Captain Reyes answered quietly, 2 minutes. The screen showed the sun twisting in on itself, the black center growing, dragging everything nearby into its mouth. Solar flares began to shoot out sideways, uncontrolled. The Krek system's balance was gone. In space, gravity doesn't scream, but on Krek Prime, it felt like it did. The sky went dark. Then light, then gone. Power grids shut down. Communication satellites were pulled from orbit. Even the moon began to crack under the shifting pull of the forming singularity. It was not an explosion. It was worse. A fade collapse. Billions of alien eyes across the galaxy watched. Earth had not simply defeated an empire. They had broken a star. On Earth, all media was halted. One message was broadcast to all eyes, enemies, and unknown watchers. The screen lit up with the Earth flag, then a voice. To all who can hear, we did not start this. We warned them. We gave them a chance. One colony was taken in silence. A star now falls in justice. Let this be a warning. Back in space, the star finally caved in. Completely. The singularity consumed the core. Light twisted, bent, and vanished. Where a sun had been, there was now a dark sphere, a black hole. The Krek system, its main power grid, its outer planets, its orbital stations, all began spiraling inward. One by one, they were swallowed. Gone. Forever. Inside. The horizon's vow, the satellite feed cut to static. Captain Reyes lowered her head. It's done. General Hale looked out into the dark where the sun had been. He did not smile. He did not speak. He simply turned away. On Krek Prime, the survivors, what few remained, looked at the sky and wept. No sun. No warmth. Just the cold reminder that they had awakened something ancient in humans. Rage with purpose. Across the galaxy, empires fell silent. The Vorn, the Tharn, the Shalax, all who once whispered that humans were weak, now spoke differently. They began changing their policies, erasing old treaties, sending peace offerings. No one dared say the words aloud, but everyone thought the same thing: do not provoke the humans. Back on Earth, the president watched the final report from Odin. The screen read, "Target neutralized. Star collapsed. Mission complete." She looked at her advisors. "Shut Odin down. No more warnings. We've said what we needed." The advisors nodded. But deep down, they knew Earth had crossed a line, and no one in the galaxy would ever look at them the same again. Asterisk. The Galactic Council had not met in person in over 100 years, until now. In a vast chamber carved into a moon orbiting the ancient star Velith, leaders from over 300 civilizations gathered. The walls shimmered with energy. Massive tables floated weightlessly under glowing orbs of light, but no one spoke. They had all seen the footage, the collapse of the Krek star, the silence that followed, the sun turning to shadow. Now, one word echoed across the chamber, whispered in dozens of languages: humans. The speaker of the Shalax Empire leaned forward. "We once called them unrefined, too emotional, too new." The Vorn elder replied softly, "And now they hold the power to fold stars." Silence again. The Alari ambassador cleared her throat. "We have all seen the result of Krek arrogance. One colony erased, one star returned in judgment." Her voice shook slightly. "I propose we declare Earth an uncontested sovereign force. No interference, no surveillance, no provocation." The room did not debate. They all agreed. Back on Earth, the president stood before the United Council of Humanity. She wore black. No medals, no victory speech. She simply looked out at the crowd of leaders, scientists, soldiers, and AI systems. "Our colony was taken," she said, "and now the galaxy knows what that cost." In orbit, Earth's fleet returned home. Every ship passed beneath the massive orbital ring that now glowed with new defense systems, tech upgraded using reverse-engineered alien code from the Krek systems. Humans had not just responded, they had learned, improved, advanced. The weapon Odin had used to fold a star? Now it was one of 6. The project had been renamed Project Leviathan. In deep space, Earth's Black Ops units began placing silent satellites around the galaxy. They were invisible, untraceable, armed with pulse weaponry, quantum barriers, and anti-singularity cores. They were not built to attack. They were built to watch. To remind. Earth was not just a planet now. Earth had become a galactic force. Alien diplomats arrived daily, some with trade offers, some with tribute, some simply to apologize. One message came from the distant and ancient Falrune dynasty, known for conquering 4 galaxies. It read, "We recognize humanity as equals, or better." Meanwhile, scientists on Earth studied the data collected from the Krek war systems. They discovered hidden tech, Things far older than the Krek themselves. Unknown particles, strange gravity readings, and something buried in their deep code. Logs, a name. Not Krek, not human. Something older. It simply read, Origin Singularity, still active. Earth scientists stared at the screen. They realized the Krek may not have been the true threat after all. They were just first, but Earth wasn't afraid anymore. For the first time in human history, the species stood united, not against each other, but against the unknown. They were now one language, one defense, one voice, asterisk, and that voice spoke across the stars. We are here, we are ready, and we do not forget. At a secret base on Mars, a human AI called Watcher monitored over 1,000 alien frequencies. Its voice echoed through the command room, threat level, minimal, respect level, maximum. On a distant space station, a young alien officer whispered to his captain as he saw a human diplomatic ship approach. Should we salute them? The captain didn't respond. He stood, and then he did. General Soren. Halle visited Colony 19-1 final time. It had been rebuilt, not the same as before, but stronger. A memorial stood in the center of the city, a statue of a child holding a toy. Ship. The plaque beneath it read, They silenced us. But we answered with fire. In the final scene of the galaxy's largest broadcast, millions of species tuned in. The screen showed Earth, a single blue world in the darkness. Then a voice. Calm, male, human, spoke 3 words. Now, they fear us.